Getting ready for bed at a regular time is one of the most important habits you can learn.
Who you gonna call?
Jason was my son, and today is his birthday.
Poor Lori. Scared another one away.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Sorry, Jack. Chucky's back.
We are counselors at Hackett's Quarry Summer Camp. There is a swarm of bears.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Most people are so ungrateful to be alive, but not you.
It's showtime.
Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous and wonderful episode of the Screen Stream. Now we are on episode 25, and unfortunately, guys, it's not Fatal Frame. I know, I said the last time that I was going to do Fatal Frame, but as I was getting everything prepped up and ready to do the podcast for Fatal Frame, I realized that I don't want to do just the one game. I love Fatal Frame, and I have enjoyed the entire franchise from beginning to end, and I really just want to deeply and passionately talk about that. So, the Fatal Frame video has become much bigger than I originally anticipated, so it's going to take about another 2 or 3 weeks for me to actually get the Fatal Frame video out. So, give it time, guys. It's probably, episode 27, 28 maybe? We'll get there when we get there, but I was thinking, what could tie us over? What can hold us over until I can get my Fatal Frame videos to come out? So I decided to hop on Shudder, and I was scrolling through, and I happened to come across something that brought back a beautiful nostalgia moment for me. And it was called 101 Scary Movie Moments of All Times. Now, for me, I don't know if a lot of y'all might be too young to remember this, and if y'all do remember this, fucking awesome. I'm glad y'all remember it too. But AMC back in October in 2004 did 100 scary movie moments of all time. And it went through the entire list from, I want to say, the 20s all the way up to 2004 when it came to horror movies. And they talked about some of the best scary movies, moments, just shooken moments that everybody enjoyed, that everyone knows, that are very iconic. Like how they got like the Michael Myers thing, the Jason thing, Jaws, oh, we're going to need a bigger boat, that shit. And, of course, they throw in a lot of, obscure films as well. Like, I remember the original list had A Clockwork Orange on it, which is where I actually was recommended that movie. So, because of that listing is why I went out and found a copy of it and got my mother to buy it for me, because I, frankly, was too young. Thank God it was not rated. I don't know who fucked up on that, but someone put A Clockwork Orange not rated in Walmart, and I bought that bitch. But out of curiosity, and because it's been almost 20 years since that original one came out, I was like, fuck it. Let's take a look and see 101 scary movie moments and see what's new. It's been, like I said, it's been about 20 years. So going through, they got a lot of good listing, a lot of the iconic shit, a lot of the pre-normal stuff I've seen, and then we get to some movies I haven't seen. And I'm just like, okay, what you got for me? And of course, some of them are foreign films, and while I was going through the listing, some of them caught my eye. And I decided, okay, I have an idea for the podcast. I figured leading up to Fatal Frame being a Japanese horror survival game, I figured I could go through different horror from around the world and discuss it, especially movies I either want to see or had never got a chance to see, which leads us to this movie, A Tale of Two Sisters. This movie came out in 2003. I unfortunately have never got to see it until just recently because it's really hard to get your hands on a copy of this movie. I had to use a friend of mine's VPN for Amazon to watch this movie. because it's not showing in our country. But anyway, I've never seen it, but I've seen the American remake of this movie, which was called The Uninvited, which I want to say came out like maybe 2007, 2008 or something, around that horror genre time where it was like a lot of remakes of foreign horror films were being made at subpar level, I have to say. Like, it wasn't bad, but it was subpar at best, especially compared to what we have. And what we have here is a fantastic movie. I'm not gonna lie. I knew the twist because of the American remake. Okay, let me phrase that. I thought I knew the twist from the American remake. This movie's got like 3 twists in it, and I didn't even see the last 2 coming. Like, okay, let me phrase that. I saw half of the second twist coming. I wasn't 100% sure on it because they played me throughout this whole movie. But that last twist, though, I was just like, motherfucker, that is just cold as shit. Like, seriously, dead serious. Oh my god. But like I said, guys, this movie came out in 2003. It was actually inspired by a folklore. I actually looked into this folklore. Apparently it was what dynasty era was this? I didn't write that down. Start with a J. Fuck me, man. But it was a folklore that came out like many years ago. And this is the summary of the story. It's basically about a man who has 2 daughters, and the mother dies, so he remarries, and the stepmother is a fucking bitch, right? She dislikes these 2 little girls to the point that when it's time for the eldest daughter to get married, instead of spending any kind of money on a wedding for this daughter, she makes it look like she had like a miscarriage or something by getting her son to kill and skin a rat and put it in her bed. And straight up, people thought, she brought shame and dishonor to the family. So she runs off out into the woods near this pond. And the stepmom sends her sons, because she had 3 sons, by the way, and sent her sons to go stop and kill her. So they drown her, make it look like she killed herself. And then a fucking tiger shows up. I'm not even joking. This is what I read. A fucking tiger shows up and mauls the son up, and I think takes his arm and an eyeball out or something. And because of all this, she takes her anger, because the daughter killed herself. She takes this anger out on the remaining daughter. And she can't take this anymore, so she ends up disappearing and then dying, and her body is later found in the lake where the other sister drowned. And because of this, every mayor that keeps coming into town keeps dying after a day. Like, literally, he gets indicted, he comes in, I got big plans, dead the next morning. Like, dead up. Until this one guy who knows the rumors and the legends about this shit, he shows up, right? And that night, after his indoctrination and everything, he's sitting in his room, he's got a little candle going, and it goes out, and the ghost children walk out. And he's like, children, why do you keep killing? What's going on? They're like, we want someone to tell the truth. Like, someone just tell them, I was murdered, okay? I was murdered, she was murdered, we were all murdered, right? So that's what he does. He goes, okay, I got you. The next morning, he shows up and wants evidence. I forgot to mention, he wants evidence to prove that, they were murdered. And she talks about the dead fetus, which is technically the skinned rat. And he goes and investigates, and they determine that was a rat. So they kill the son and the stepmom. Let the father go because he was a completely innocent bystander. Like, God bless this man. He was innocent bystanders 100% of the time. And, straight up, just carried on with life. He got remarried, had a dream about his children. They said, Daddy, we love you. We're going to be together again soon. Found out she was pregnant with twins that he named after his original daughters. The end. Like, it was crazy fucking folklore. I'm like, that's a folklore? That sounds like a tragic story. But yeah, the tiger thing, that was the part, as I was reading, I was just like, okay, yeah, I see what the movie's based off of. Okay, fucking tiger? Holy shit. But yeah, it was a really interesting little. I don't know if it's any longer than when I read or whatnot. But yeah, from what I read about the story, the little folklore story, it was really interesting, really cool, and I see where he was inspired by this movie, or inspired by the story to make this movie, because it's a fun ride. I'm not gonna lie, it's a fun ride. But it was directed by, and before I say their names, I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm going to do my best to say their names. If I missay their names, I do apologize in advance. I'm not very fluent in South Korean, so I don't know if I'm even attempting to say these names correctly. So please, guys, don't be mad at me. Don't be offended, please. I'm trying my best here. Like, I even went on other people's videos to watch how they pronounce their names to make sure I'm saying their names correctly. But I want to say the director is Kim Ji-woon. And I didn't get a chance to really look up his cinematography all too terribly much. I know he made a movie called The Red Locust, I think, and another one, I didn't catch the name. But apparently he's very well liked. He's a really good director. I really don't know much of his work. After this movie, I definitely might take a look at that, because his camera work in this movie is phenomenal. I'm not even gonna lie. But we can't give all the credit to the director. We gotta give the cast a shout out. We have Im Soo Jin. I hope I'm saying that right. She plays Sumi, though. Or Sumi. Moon Jin Young plays Soo Yin. Young Jua plays Yujin. I think that's how you pronounce the stepmom's name, Yujin. I'm not sure. In my notes, I even call her mom and stepmom throughout the entire notes. You also got Kim Kat-soon, who plays the dad, Moo Hin-yeon. And god damn it, I forgot to write down the brother and the sister-in-law's actual actors' names, but the fantastic actors. I'm sorry, guys, I meant to write y'all down. I actually have a space as a plane. God damn it, I still fail at life. Anyway, they were fantastic. I love their acting. Perfect. Like, I watched this movie with subtitles. I didn't go with no English dub or anything, so 100%. They knocked it out of the park. Loved it. Like, they had my attention the entire time while they were on screen. Especially the stepmom and the daughters. Like, especially Sumi. Again, I hope I'm saying the names correctly. Sumi, though. Sumi. Her chemistry with the stepmom is phenomenal. Like, you could just feel that tension in the air. Like, they just want to, like, kill each other right then and there. But, yeah, fantastic work as always. But I gotta give a personal shout out to Mr. Lee. And, Mr. Lee Woo. You, sir, are a fantastic composer. I'm not gonna lie, man. You had me hook, line, and sinker the moment the title screen started playing on my movie. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, as soon as I hit play on the movie and I heard his beautiful score, I was instantly hooked. I was like, oh my fucking, like, it took me back to the feeling I had when I discussed the music to The Changeling. How it's almost like eerie and whimsical at the same time. Like, it's fucking phenomenal. Oh my god, like, I could make love to that music. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. It almost, in some weird aspect, feels like Howl's Moving Castle as well, with that composer and everything. Like, it's whimsical. It's whimsical, it's dark, it's creepy, and the music's just phenomenal. Love it. But, some other aspects I want to talk about real quick is the lighting and the shadows. They do a lot throughout this movie. It's wonderful. I'm not even gonna say phenomenal. I keep saying phenomenal, but it's wonderful, especially during several scenes, which I'll discuss once I get into those scenes. That the lighting is just beautiful, and a lot of it is purposely done to make you uncomfortable and unsure of your surroundings. Because the director, in his own words, said that he wanted to make this movie confusing. He purposely made it confusing because the story itself is almost told backwards, and that he didn't want to make a movie that had a message or a meaning behind it. He just wanted to make a honest to God horror film. And I love you for that, buddy. I love you for that, because it's not like super scary, especially for like today's modern audience and shit, but it has its moments. It's very attention filled. I'm not gonna lie, very tense moments. Like, I'm talking about, there were moments I saw coming that still got me, because it was just so full of tense. Just so full of, like, good suspense and build up, good music drawn out. There was actually a lot of moments, speaking of the music, when the music wasn't playing, that was also a good time, because the fact that these tension-filled moments weren't drawn out by, like, high-pitched violin noises, just like The Changeling, you know, it amazes me how modern horror movies don't use this tactic very much, where you can hold tension more with just the sound effects of them walking around or investigating whatever. You don't need the violins, you don't need the big trumpets. Like, you just gotta have that good long tension. And silence is golden sometimes, and this movie has those moments. Granted, though, they are quickly tensed up a bit more with the perfect moment of the score coming in. Like, again, we'll get there when we get there. But, oh my God, it's just wonderful. The colors. Now, I will say, something I noticed straight off the bat when watching this movie, especially, you notice, especially like during the title screen and everything, the colors are so rich and vibrant, and there's a meaning behind each of these colors, especially the contrast between the mother and the stepmother and the Sumi character. Like, it's wonderful, especially when you know about the twist. Now, again, guys, I'm just gonna say this: y'all know me. If y'all don't know me, I do spoilers. I need to talk about spoilers, especially on some movies, this being one of those movies, because I can't talk about his camera work or the colorings without spoiling the big twist and everything. So if you've never seen A Tale of Two Sisters, I suggest you go and watch it, come back later, and then we'll discuss it some more. Otherwise, I'm going to spoil this entire movie from beginning to the end. And again, I had to talk about the twist, but I want to at least get my expressions out about the colors and camera working. But, yeah, the twist is, not only is the sister dead, which if you watch the American remake, you already know that. The stepmom, oh no, she ain't dead either. She's very much alive. She's very much alive. And the version of the stepmom we have been seeing is the portrayal that Sumi has been throwing at us, because this is how she sees her stepmom. And at first I was like, I didn't get it. And then the last twist, which I will save that one for the end, because, oh my God, it just took me, man. But, yeah, you notice with the coloring, the stepmom wears a lot of, like, lighter colors, such as blues. But they're very rich blues, by the way. They're not just, like, basic blues, but they're, like, very, like, deep, rich, royal blues, almost. Of course, nice lavenders, bright, vivid reds. You got some good, like, bold greens going on. Like, it's some nice coloring. I'm not gonna lie. I love the coloring to this entire movie. And, like I said, you notice that in the costume choices when watching this movie, especially the contrast between everybody, you know, especially the sisters. That was one of the things I noticed the most, is that one sister, she's wearing the bright colorful hat with the red coat and everything, and the other one's wearing just a white simple outfit, you know, just kind of basic dress. And I was just like, oh yeah, no, she's definitely a ghost. Because again, I saw the American remake, and I just assumed I knew this movie right off the bat. But wait, I was wrong, because I did not see the twist about the mother. Like, dead serious, did not see that twist coming. And I did not see that last twist coming at the end. But, yeah, this movie has a lot of layers to it. And, with the camera work, you definitely see some of those layers, especially with some of the sound effects you hear. Like, there's this bell. You hear it constantly anytime you're outside. And I don't know if it's supposed to represent something, if it's more of a meaning. I don't know. Maybe I'll figure it out as I talk about it on the podcast. But I swear, I feel like that bell's super fucking important. Because I heard it multiple times. I'm like, that bell. It's that fucking bell, bro. Because in the American remake, the bell was important because it symbolized the mom ringing for the dad to come in and shit. Super weird. But, yeah, I just felt like it was important. I don't know if it is. Why is it completely not be important at all? But, yeah, I love the camera work and the layers behind the camera work because there are certain frames that are purposely done that confuse you at first if you're not really paying attention, or if you don't really know what's going on. Like, again, because I saw the American remake, I kind of knew what was going on, so I was paying attention to a lot of these camera works and seeing how is he going to portray this. Because you know how to do these whole split personality movies where they try to convince you by their hardest to be like, hey, this person's totally real, even though the twist is they're not. And I've learned over years how to spot this shit. Which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing at this point, that I'm starting to spot all this shit while watching movies. Like, I don't know. It's like, am I getting too good at this? Who the hell knows? But, they try to, like, especially the way they frame, so, like, if you got a good director in your hand, they'll frame it in a certain way. And, like, there's a scene where the two girls are outside and the dad goes to talk about them, and he only calls one daughter's name, and then when we go to, like, a front view shot of them having the conversation, the one sister's cut out while he's having the conversation with the other one. And again, you wouldn't really notice or be paying attention unless you were honestly looking for it. But yeah, I noticed a lot of that shit, and I was praising it. As I was watching this movie, I was like, damn, that is some fiery ass camera work. Like, it's good trickery and shit. But yeah, let's go ahead and dive straight on into this movie, because it was just a fun, fantastic movie. Where is the opening? I took a lot of notes during this movie. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, so we start the movie after the title screen and this really, really like basic, nice shot of a hospital. And I like this scene because it says so much without giving anything away, because just how quiet it is. It's like honestly quiet. Like all you hear is like the doctor washing his hands. He ain't really saying anything. You hear a door open and then footsteps. Just getting ever so closely. Then comes a nurse with another woman in the frame, and she brings her over, pulls out the chair, puts her in front of it, slowly puts her down, and pushes her in. Almost like this woman's in a zombie-like status, almost. Like she's just not, she can't comprehend much of anything. She needs help just to get from one place to another, but it's like she's aware. Almost like, not catatonic, though. Not catatonic, but again, zombie-like, because, she needs help and shit. Frankly, if you actually think about it, it's almost like Michael Myers in some aspects, just how quiet and shit she is. But the doctor sits down, and he tries to have, a casual conversation with her, just like, oh, well, how was your day? What's going on with you? She won't answer. She won't say shit. She ain't talking. So he brings out these photos and, he starts, showing her, do you know who this is? Do you know who this is? This is your family. And again, she's not making really much eye contact. Her hair's all up in her face and everything. And he looks at her and I shit you not, this was the strangest questions. Now again, I don't know if it's my subtitles or if he really phrased it this way, but it said, who do you think you are? He asked, who do you think you are? Now, again, if you didn't know the twist and shit, I lost my train of thought for a second. If you didn't know the twist, you wouldn't quite get that, that original line of questioning, who do you think you are? knowing that she has multiple personality disorder. So he's wondering who the fuck she's talking to. Because hell, he could be talking to the one sister, he could be talking to the stepmom. Who the fuck knows? Who really knows? But the point is, you as the audience member are not supposed to be aware of this factor. So you're asking the question, like, what does he mean? Who are you? Why does she not speak? You're trying to figure this out. But this says a lot about her character as well. The fact that whatever the hell happened to her has traumatized her to the point that she's done blocked a bunch of shit out and has created alter egos to basically deal with this shit. So it gets you thinking, though. Why is she here? How long has she been here? Like, seriously, those are questions you don't get an answer to, by the way. I'm not even gonna lie. That the whole how she got to the hospital, how long she was there, it's never addressed. And granted, it wasn't one of those questions that really bothered me until the end. Because I just want to know, just like, when did she find out? And I mean, granted, I see she didn't take it very well. You can honestly see she didn't take it very well. But I do wonder, though, like, what triggered her? And granted, okay, let me phrase this. I know what triggered her to go there. I want to know, how long does somebody go before telling her? How long was it? Because, again, we all know her sister died, right? And at the end of the movie, it basically freeze frames on her leaving the house as her sister's dying. So we never get to see how she found out of how her sister died. So it's just one of those curious questions. Just, okay, who told her? How she find out? And how long do we wait till we get to this point here? But again, it's really not super important. It's just one of those stupid questions I always wonder. And that's why he doesn't really address it, I'm assuming. Is because it's not really important what she's doing here. All we know is she's here. And she's dealing with some shit. As, eventually, he goes through the photos and stuff. She does make eye contact, but again, does not say shit. Just make a little bit of eye contact, especially when he's showing up the family photos. And I don't think we really get to see the family photos in, like, good focus frame or anything like that. But after still not saying anything, we then cut to this beautiful countryside. I'm talking about, like, I thought, like, I hit an ad or something because it felt, like, completely different from the hospital scene. But, oh my God, as soon as I saw the beautiful, luscious countryside and that whimsical, charming music start playing, I was just like, holy fucking shit, this is nice. This is, like, seriously, guys, I was really in tune into this music. Like, this music had me from beginning to end. And I just, oh my God, I need a copy of this music, to be perfectly honest. I want to say I saw it on YouTube while I was looking it up about the composer and everything. So I'll definitely have to take a look at that. But yeah, if y'all ever get a chance, listen to the music. Phenomenal. But, like I said, but I digress. So we go to the countryside and she's driving on, but she's being driven on through. And we pull up to this really nice house. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it's got these beautiful windows and a second story with a balcony and shit. There's actually a conservatory at one point. Like, it is gorgeous. And eventually, the car stops and we see who we know is the dad gets out. And he's got the bags and everything, and he puts the bags down, walks over to the window, knocks on it, hey, you gonna get out? And this is when we get the reveal of the two girls, because eventually they come out of the vehicle. And what's really nice about this scene is not a word is said between them. Like, not a word at all is said between them. Not even, after they, explore around a little bit, like, nothing's said between them until we get to this pier. But they get out of the vehicle, though, and the sister, Sumi, begins to walk around while Soo-yeon runs over to this flower. Now, I'm not quite sure what this flower is, but it looks like something she could eat or something, but she ends up grabbing it, and she opens it up, and she takes a bite, and she spits it out because I'm assuming it's bitter. I don't know what it is. it looks somewhat delicious, I'm not gonna lie. But if anybody knows what she was eating, please let me know, because I'm curious myself what the hell she was eating. Cause that just looked interesting enough to eat. But while she's doing that, Sumi is walking around, and of course she looks at these swings, and she goes around the house and looks at this porch. And this entire time we just hear this bell just ding, 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 you know, as the wind's blowing and shit. And again, guys, it could be important. It couldn't be. It's just something I noticed while watching this movie, that we hear this bell constantly. So, you know, after that, she ends up walking to her sister. And there's this, like, really cute sister moment where she goes, Soo-young. And they turn around and they giggle a little bit. She grabs her hand. They run off down to the water, to the pier. And there's this cute moment where they're just, you know, just sitting there, you know, their feet's in the water, and they're just like, I guess, taking this all in and everything. Just, oh, this is great, this is wonderful. Here's a little, something I found interesting during this scene is, I didn't get it at first, and then I had to do a little bit of research into it, but while they're sitting on the pier and, you know, just like taking in the view and shit, Sumi ends up grabbing Soo-young's hands and then starts intensely staring at them. And I didn't get that at first. I was like, why the fuck is she just staring at her hands? Like, what is that? You know, what's going on there? Looking into it, she's palm reading. Apparently she felt something and decided to, you know, read the palms and saw that something bad was going to happen. I don't know. It's just like this really nice, silent, intense close-up shot zooming in to her looking at her sister's hands until the father. Now, this is something else I noticed about how clever the dialogue is. Again, we as the audience don't know that Soo-young is dead. So when the father goes to get the attention of the girl, I know this several times throughout this movie, he only calls Sumi's name. He never calls her sister's name at all. He only calls her name. And again, I just thought that was really clever when it came to writing. The fact that unless you're paying to those little details, you won't really see a lot of this shit coming. But he ends up calling her name, you know, come on inside. And, you know, the girls, they giggle, they grab their shoes. And then we go into the house. Now, this is our introduction into the stepmom. Now, again, she's not real. She's not real. This is just a figment of her projecting what her stepmom is like. And I'm going to be honest, her depiction is on point, especially at the end of the movie. Her depiction is on fucking point of how this stepmonster really acts. But I will say, because I myself didn't know going in, because I only thought I knew some of the twists. I only thought I knew. I thought I knew what the hell was going on in this movie. So when it turned out she was seeing the stepmom, she was projecting the imagery of her stepmom the entire time. The stepmom wasn't even there until the end of the movie. Blew my fucking mind. Blew my fucking mind. We'll get there when we get there. But her intro is pretty nifty because she's all over the place. I'm not even gonna lie, she's all over the place. She is hot then cold. She's very condescending in some aspects. It's almost like she puts you down. It's ridiculous. Like, this woman, if I ever met this woman in person, I would bitch slap the hell out of her because she just seems like a fucking bitch. But she comes in, and the first words out of her mouth is, oh my god, Sumi, you look so pretty. Oh, it's been so long, you know, da-da-da-da. And then out of nowhere, she just turns cold. I'm talking about, it's like with a look. Like, this actress with a fucking look could just change her attitude. It's fucking incredible. Because I noticed that I had to free-frame her a couple of times because I was that impressed with her acting skills. That she could literally have, like, this false friendship, just falseness all over her words, and then the drop of a dime could just wicked stepmother, Just straight up, just wicked stepmother right off the bat. Love it though. A 10 out of 10 woman. You did a fantastic job. But she turns cold and she looks back at the sisters and she's just like, "Oh, you feeling better? Are you okay? You know, just like your mom. What about you? You're looking much better too." And you know, the sisters, and what was very weird about this scene, which again goes with the camera work, is as she's talking, you know, she's looking at Soo Young, you know, I think who is on her left, and Soo Mi is on her right, or technically our right, our left, her left, her our right. You get what I'm saying. The point is, she's looking at one sister. And there's a moment where we cut to Soo Mi just standing there staring at nothing. Like, I don't mean like nothing, but it's like she's just standing there like zoned the fuck out. Just, it's like, are you alright? Are you good? Now, I originally thought this was her just taking in the wicked stepmother kind of vibe. Just, this woman is fucking crazy. Because of the fact that she interacts more with everybody else. That's why when it's revealed that the stepmom was a figment, it blew my fucking mind because she interacts with all these people. Like, she actually interacts during a dinner scene later on with the dad a lot. Like, there's a scene where she's cuddling with the dad and shit. And I originally just thought it was a sexless marriage, but nope, it makes fucking sense now. It really does. But the entire time she's kind of chastising them, you know, about, you know, being better and all this shit. And how dare them, you know, not come in and say hi to her, that they need to go upstairs and change, and then welcome back. Like, seriously, she, like, in the drop of a dime, yet again, just, yeah, you need to go upstairs and change. By the way, welcome back. Like, damn, bitch. Fucking psychotic as hell. But eventually, yeah, this all culminates in the fact that this bitch really wants them to call her mom. She really wants to be mom. And to be honest, it ain't worth it, man. It ain't fucking worth it. Like, how she got there, granted, we all know how she got there. And as the story unfolds, if you don't remember, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, how she got there was kind of fucked up. And the fact that she has the audacity to come into this house and be like, "Yo, bitches, I'm your mommy now." This ain't that Meghan Trainor song. I want to say it's Meghan Trainor. You know, "I am your mother." You know that song. I want to say that's Meghan Trainor. If I'm wrong, I do apologize. But yeah, the sisters end up going upstairs. And then we cut to Soo Mi going into her room. Now, this is another clever camera trick because it's almost like we're continuing the shot from the girls running upstairs into this room, and you notice Soo Yun is missing. She's gone. I originally just assumed, you know, the usual shenanigans, just the, you know, figment of imagination, not really there, DID, so she's gone, not important. And thus I was correct, but it does show you the cleverness of the camera tricks right there, that if you don't know, you know, if you don't know the twist, or even on your second viewing, you know, it's great camera work. And then again, I'll talk about that a lot, about the amazing camera work and the angles and shit that they do, because it's just, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I really wish more filmmakers would do shit like this. Like, I get that in a lot of action movies or horror movies and shit, you want to have a certain suspense, you want to keep certain things off camera, because, you know, the imagination is better than what we actually see and shit. I understand that. But if you do clever tricks like this, it could really kind of up your game a little bit when it comes to your movie. Really elevate the movie. You know, it doesn't have to be like these big twist reveals and shit. Granted, there's some big twists in this movie. But let's go back to, like, Malignant or Hereditary. You know, the twists, the stories, they don't add up. They don't, it's just boring. Simple. Easy to understand. Easy to explain. I like movies that challenge me and make me think. Like, this one ain't a horror movie, but it's a fun, depressing movie. I'm not gonna lie, it's depressing as fuck. It's called Stay, though, and it's got Ewan McGregor in it, and beautiful filmmaking at its finest. I'm not even gonna lie. If it was a horror movie, I would talk about it, but it's not a horror movie. But I do highly suggest look it up, watch it. It'll blow your mind at the end, and you'll end up crying as well. But yeah, I really wish more filmmakers would do shit like that. You know, just be clever with the camera tricks, with the lighting. You know, it doesn't have to be point A to point B. Basic filmography here, like. I want creativity when it comes to my horror. Granted, I want creativity when it comes to any movie, but especially for my horror, man. Creativity. And that's why this movie really stuck with me, because I only saw the one scene from 101 Scary Movie Moments, and I'll tell you what scene it is when we get there. But I digress. So, after she, Sumi goes upstairs, she proceeds to unpack, and she starts off by starting this clock. The really nice grandfather clock as it ticks. And she opens up, like a little dresser, or not a dresser, but like a desk area. Excuse me, but a little desk area. And as she's pulling out her notebooks, there's an exact replica. Like I'm talking about to a T, exact, copy by copy, even stacked up with the ribbon and all, version of her notebook already on the desk. And she's like, okay, cool. Goes to the closet, opens the closet door. The exact same fucking clothes. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, the exact same blue dress all over that closet. So then, after that, we cut to the mom doing laundry, and she has a similar situation where she grabs some laundry off the bed, she's walking down the hallway, she looks on the floor, and the exact thing she's holding in her hand is on the floor. So I don't know why she does this, but she throws it away and just walks off. Like, I ain't dealing with it. Like, this is too much laundry. Who keeps adding to the laundry pile? But that shows you that these people are connected because of the fact that, what are the odds? Both these girls are having the same hallucinations in some aspects. What are the odds of that shit? Cleverness. That's the odds of that shit. So after, also something I wanted to add about this scene, and I noticed it my second time watching it. It's a lovely one-take track shot of her walking down the hallway, going to the bedroom, grabbing the clothes, turning around, and then going back through the hallway. It's not very long. But it's just a nice continuous shot, and I had to talk about that, because that's just how nice the camera work is on this shit. But yeah, it's after the clothes situation, you get Dad on the phone, and he's talking to someone very informal. Again, this is South Korea. So the way people talk is very important, especially, when watching, movies and shit, because you need to figure out what kind of person this is to the person on the phone. Are they someone close? Is it just a business? Is it just friends? Is it just a random call? Is it the doctor? Is it the cops? And you have to find out by how formal or informal they are when on the phone. But with this phone call, he's very, informal. Very, that means he's very close to whoever's on the phone. And he's chit-chatting about how, rough it is at the house and that he really needs somebody. And that, I want to say it's the brother and his sister-in-law coming down and all this shit. And I'm gonna be honest. When it came to the dad, I felt so bad for him. I did. Throughout this entire movie, this man just seeps with overwhelming depression and sadness. And you can see it on his face, you can see it in his clothing, because he's the only character to have a neutral color clothing. It's just gray. I want to say that wasn't just a character choice because, we had like the harsh reds for the Sumi and for the stepmom, like the rich blues, and with the little sister, it's like very light white colors and shit. With the dad, not only does it make him neutral to this whole situation, it just makes him look sadder. Like, the man's got gray hair, he's got gray clothes, his eyes are sunken in, the man looks like he cries 24/7. Like, I just felt this motherfucker from beginning to end. And I'm just like, oh my god, bro, like, when was the last time you smiled? When was the last time you even heard yourself laugh? Can you even laugh anymore? Because this man's on edge. Like, there's several times he's talking to people and he's just like, I am tired of doing this. I'm sick of this. You'll feel better. Get some rest. Like, he literally says, like, the same 4 phrases throughout this entire movie. That just shows you how tired of his daughter's bullshit he is. Like, again, we as the audience aren't supposed to know that he knows that she has DID, so he is honestly fed up with all the split personality disorders. Like, he's like, there's too many people in this house. And one room, by the way. But yeah, the dad, though, he looks defeated. He looks sad, and I feel for him. I honestly do. But he adds the fact that, you know, they're coming down and that he really needs somebody, and, you know, this has just been rough for him, and he hangs up the phone. And we're to a nice little dinner scene. You would think it would be a nice little dinner scene, but every dinner scene in this movie is fucking awkward. It's like no one knows how to have a normal dinner anymore. So in this dinner scene, everybody's just sitting quietly. Just all you hear is the clattering of forks on plates, fucking chewing and shit. Just very awkward. Very, very uncomfortable. And while everyone's, you know, kind of chewing, mind their own business, the mom leans over and goes, oh, by the way, I invited a couple of our friends over, which the ones he was already discussing on the phone. So, again, that's just a weird, you would think that's just a weird, you know, choice for her to say. Like, we as the audience already know that he's got these friends coming over. He already said something, so he already knows these friends are coming over. So why are you telling him this? Again, just adds to the fun factor of she's not really there. But, you know, after that, you notice, though, you know, Dad doesn't really say anything. He doesn't do anything. Throughout this whole scene, he's very quiet. And again, like I said, guys, he's very depressed in this movie. So he doesn't really say much. And when he does, it's just depressing. But, you know, he gets done eating. He goes, yeah, that was delicious. I bet you're tired. Clean this up tomorrow. And he just walks out. And then, again, we're just sitting there with the stepmom and the sisters. And Sumi looks at her and just goes, why you fucking with my laundry? I'm sorry, not Sumi, but stepmom looks at Sumi and he goes, why you fucking with my laundry? She goes, what do you mean, why am I fucking with the laundry? I do your dad's laundry. You don't mess with it. Well, don't mess with my clothes. All right? Let's talk about all the identical dresses going on in my closet. So, both addressing that they kind of hallucinated the same fucking bullshit and both equally as confused about the situation. So, it leaves you wondering, leaves you guessing, if you didn't know the twist, you know, who the fuck, is fucking with them? Like, who's doing what? Eventually, the dad comes back, and he hands the mom 2 little white pills. And then, just walks away. The stepmom ends up looking at Sumi and goes, oh, are you not hungry? Do you not want to eat? And she just, no, I don't. And then gets up and walks away. Looks at Soo-young, and Soo-young, she really doesn't speak much, by the way. She does not speak much either. Like, she is equally as sad of a character. Like, she truly is. Because it's just like, if she ain't saying anything, she's just crying. She ain't crying, she's screaming. She ain't screaming. All she's asking is for help. And when we get to the end, it just makes it even more sad. So, just sadness, man. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, just pure utter sadness from this girl. But the stepmom looks at her and goes, oh, aren't you gonna follow your sister up the stairs? And of course she, doesn't say anything, just gets up and just leaves as well, leaving the mom alone in this kitchen. She heads upstairs and, Sumi grabs her and hugs her out. And this is something I thought was a little weird at first as well. The way she talked about the stepmom. She didn't just call her stepmom. She never called her mom. She never called her stepmom. She always called her that lady. That lady. Which is kind of insulting. I'm not going to lie. It's very insulting. But while she's holding her sister, she's just like, don't let that lady get to you. If she gets on your case, you let me know and I'll deal with it, okay? Don't worry about her. And she holds her, and I guess they have like a bit of a cute little sister moment and everything. It was really cute. It was really cute. I'm not gonna lie. The sister bonding felt very natural, very real, and I felt like Su-min was the protected older sister, especially the fact with Soo-young doesn't really speak all that much. So I really felt that dynamic of, protected older sister. And I loved it. I loved it. Me being a protected older sister myself. Like, I am. Like, I would fucking die for my sister. I would murder somebody for my sister. If somebody hurt her, oh yeah, no, I'm not joking. If my sister ever got kidnapped, I would become Liam Neeson. I'm not even joking. I would be Liam Neeson from Taken. I would straight up just, I don't know who you are. I don't know how to find you. But I demand you give back my sister. And nothing will happen. But if you don't, I will hunt you down. And I will kill you. Like, dead serious. I will be him. I will be that father, okay? So I really liked the dynamic with the sisters. I really did. But after that, we go to the mom, and the mom is putting her little bird to sleep, which, I thought was a weird scene. Because, like, what do we need this moment? What, I guess to humanize her? She's not always a fucking bitch. Is that what we're trying to say? Yeah, and no at the same time. But the bird does come back later on. And I'm going to be honest, that scene got me too. So, after that, we see the mom put the bird, and then she turns off all the lights. She goes into the bedroom. She, undoes the makeup and, is getting all ready. And here's Dad coming. And I'm thinking, oh, she wants some sexy time because she got undressed really fast. And then not like full naked or anything, but she looked like disrobed, like Bruce Almighty over there. Just took that shit off, crawled in the bed, fucking, she fucking, like, smoothed that shit out, grabbed the comforter, patted this shit down, got all excited, just, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeVille. Now, all this shit, Dad comes in, doesn't even look at her. Next scene, everybody's asleep. Sexy time, assuming did not happen, which, no, it did not. But this scene's also really important, and again adds emphasis on the sadness of the dad and how he's dealing with shit. We cut to the scene and we see everybody sleeping. We look at Su-mi and Soo-young. They all chilling in their bedrooms. We get cut to stepmommy and daddy in the bed, and mom passed the fuck out. Dad, on the other hand, he's awake, and you can tell he's awake. And he's holding her, and he slowly lets her go, rolls over on his back. You can just feel the sadness just seeping off this man. You just feel it seeping off this motherfucker. But he lays there and he sits up, goes into another room, and goes to sleep. Like, if that doesn't say anything about this man. Now, again, you would assume right off the bat that you're just in a loveless marriage. Not just a sexless marriage, but a loveless marriage. But when you know the twist, it makes sense that either she really wasn't there, or it was either she wasn't there and we just seen the dad kind of, let's take the mom out of the picture, and we just see Dad laying in the bed and he can't lay in the bed and he walks off. Which that could be a case, but I think what happened was it was really the stepdaughter, and he doesn't want to kick her out of his room to send her back to her room, so he does the honorable thing and go sleep in a different room. Let his daughter have the bed, let her have her moment, let her whatever the fuck this moment is, and he goes to sleep. And I think the way they did all that, like I said, if you didn't know the twist, you would think one thing, but because we know the twist, it's a whole completely different other thing. And again, cleverness, just fucking cleverness. So as the rest of the night plays out, Mom ends up waking up to running around in the house, and we'll hear that periodically throughout the movie, just people running around this house. So she just slowly sits up and just sits on the edge of the bed. Kind of like a Paranormal Activity moment. Just kind of sits there, just zoning the fuck out. Like, I don't know why she had to zone the fuck out that creepy like, but she just like, I'm deciding to be creepy today, and decided to do that. We then go to Shin Young, who is awakened in her room by a weird scratching tapping sound coming from her door. And she looks up and she sees the door slowly open. Now I added this in my notes. Even in a South Korean horror film, they still don't know how to put WD-40 on any fucking doors, okay? I am convinced in horror movies, any horror movies, they don't even go to like Home Depot or anywhere like that just to get a door. They have to go special order it, and it's like, I specifically want spooky, scary door, okay? Like, it's gotta creak 10,000 knots, okay? Like, I need to hear it creak 3 hallways down or some bullshit. Like, we can never just have a normal door in a horror movie, can we? It's always gotta creak. It's like, hell, even my doors in my house creak, and I'm just like, oh, great. Now you're being a horror movie now. Like, great. Is there a serial killer behind you? I have to double check just in case. But yeah, I don't get horror doors, and I feel like every horror door has to come from somewhere. So if y'all know where they're ordering these doors for horror movies, let me know so I can send them a case of WD-40. And just put these on your doors, man. Just put these on your doors. Just save us a lot of problems. But the door creaks open, and you hear somebody coming into the room. So the sister rolls over, pulls the covers over her head. She's trying to be safe, And you hear whatever's in this room just walk around. And it's these long, long strokes walking. And then we had this super long, intense, slow zoom push towards Soo Young's face as we see the covers slowly get pulled from her face. And she's trying to be asleep. And there's no music. There's just this long, intense zoom in at a very slow pace. And we're just hearing her breathing get faster and faster and faster as we get closer. And then suddenly, we just have like this weird loud noise, and it's like a super, rather obvious jump scare. But because we had this long, quiet, intense close-up zoom shot that was very intensifying, it scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was like zoomed in. I was like, my God, I was waiting for like a hand to come out or something. Like, I was honestly waiting for something else to happen to give us this jump scare. So when the noise happens, I was not expecting it. But that's how clever he does his jump scares. When you're expecting the jump scare, it doesn't happen until you think it's not going to happen. Then it happens. And I love it. I fucking love it. But yeah, we got that little jump scare. And she gets up and runs out of her room, goes to the sister's room, and crawls in the bed with her. And there's this like really cute moment where she rolls over and she pulls the cover down because she feels somebody in the bed with her, and she pulls the covers down, and Soo Young's all balled up, and she's like, "What happened? Did you have a nightmare?" And she's like, No, I didn't have a nightmare. And she cuddles her a little bit, pulls her in close. She's like, "What happened?" "Somebody was in my room." "What do you mean somebody was in your room?" "It was just a nightmare." "No, somebody was in my room." "Was it her?" "Was it her? What was it, that lady?" "I don't know." So the sister, out of curiosity, decides to go check this shit out. So she gets up, she starts walking around the house, investigating and everything. Eventually, she gets to the living room where the dad's asleep. And she just walks over there. She touches his face. And I guess kind of having like a, not a come to Jesus moment, but like a realization that her dad's very, very tired and very depressed. And he's there, and it's sad. It's really sad. Again, guys, it's really sad as you think about it in the long run. While she's having this moment, the mom's fucking there, right? And she's upset about the situation. Like, why are you trying to wake your dad up? What you got to tell him that's so fucking important? What's going on? And she's, standoffish with her. And she's like, you know what? I was just checking on him, make sure he's okay. I was getting some water. Fuck off. And she walks off. Stepmom not really thinking much of it. Whatever. We get to the kitchen. We hear that damn fucking bell again. Just ding, 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 ding. Just outside while she's grabbing this water. She chugs this water down like she's just been running a triathlon. I'm not even gonna lie. She gets done. She follows it up. She smells something. She smells the water. She looks around. She sees in the fridge that there's this wrapped up, bloody thing in there. She investigates it, and of course it's like this, like fucked up, like fish. I want to say. I'm not sure. It was like a quick glance, so I'm not sure what kind of meat it was, but it was some kind of meat. And it was all bloody and raw and shit, and it scared the shit out of her. And she drops it, and while we're doing that moment of her freaking out and picking it up and I'm walking off, we cut to the mom just sitting in the living room by herself with the TV static on. Yeah, we have a lot of weird shots like that, and my understanding and perspective of this is what she's really doing. While we're watching her go to the fridge, get some water, drink, drop this fish and shit, what's really going on is she walked into the living room and sat down in front of the static TV and hasn't moved since. Because again, we had that scene earlier when the mom was talking to the girls when we first got introduced to her. I told you about the moment where she just like zoned the fuck out. We had that camera shot of her zoning the fuck out. And I want to say that's why we have all these weird camera moments or cut to these moments, because that's the director basically telling us she's actually doing this. But because we think the mom's still this is really the mom and not, a figment of her imagination, we just think the mom's being weird. Which, again, I originally thought that because I wrote down mom's weird several times. So she eventually, Sumi goes back upstairs into the room with her sister, and she lays down, and, the sister asks, hey, did you go into my room? Yeah. So, what was there? And she's like, nothing, I didn't say anything. What was that woman? And then, of course, Sumi asks Soo-yeon, was that woman there? And she's like, what woman? You mean stepmom? That was the wrong word to say. I'm not gonna lie, because you can see it on her face as soon as she's like, stepmom? What the fuck you call her? No, that is the lady, okay? The woman. That is not mom. That is not stepmom. Fuck this bitch. But she doesn't say anything. She just pulls her in closer and goes, that woman is strange. And so is this house. Which is funny because later on in the movie, I think more towards the end, the stepmom says the exact same thing to the dad at one point. Just going, ever since those girls showed up, strange things have been happening in this house. Which again is the parallels. More clever writing, more clever tricks of this movie. But of course, the older sister, reassuring her, going, hey, everything's okay. I'm here to protect you now. As long as I'm here, you will always be safe. Next morning, we cut to Dad waking up, and he's looking around. And, of course, for some reason, the front door is open. Don't ask me why, but he's looking around. And to me, originally, I didn't realize there was a dream sequence, so I got spooked out of it. I got spooked like a motherfucker. I'm not even going to lie. I got spooked. Because, again, we don't realize there's a fucking dream sequence. But Soo-min wakes up, and she hears, because she has this nightmare of, blood and a hand tweaking out, and a woman screaming, and she's all, really, fucked up about this whole situation. She's really, scared and shit. So she wakes up, and we hear what sounds like scratching noises coming from this wardrobe. But it's not the wardrobe. We get this really nice camera shot where we pan around from one end of the room to the other, and it's very slow. And the entire time, we could just hear this clawing sound. Just this weird clawing sound. And as we get to the other end of the room, we see this head of a woman. We see her just slowly crawling on the floor, ever so slowly, like I said. She stands up, kind of weird. I will admit there's some weird edits in this movie when it comes to some of the jump scares. I don't know if that was personally a director's choice or if that's just how a lot of South Korean horror films are made. But there's a questionable audio. I noticed it only during this one scene and a scene later on. I'll get there when I get there because it was more funny than anything else. But yeah, there's like this weird sound effect or something. She stands up, kind of like The Grudge, and then slowly starts walking to her. And I gotta give this ghost credit, or this nightmare ghost credit, or whatever the fuck it's supposed to be. I gotta give credit though. I have seen this shot before where, the ghost stands up and starts walking towards you and then gets to the edge of the bed and then it does this little jump scare. Not this bitch, no. This bitch stands up and walks straight onto the bed, not even bending. Like, the entire time this woman is walking, she doesn't bend. You hear her footsteps, and she's got heavy fucking footsteps. But she's just slightly tilted and don't bend her back. So she walks completely straight, stands on top of the fucking bed. Doesn't even miss a beat. Stands on top of the bed. Stands over her while she's freaking out. We then zoom in on her thigh. And we see a little bit of blood dripping down her thigh. And then the hand comes out. And then that's when the nightmare is over. And Soo-min wakes up. And realizes, it was all just a nightmare, no big deal. I personally didn't get the nightmare, to be honest. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. I liked it. I thought that was a good, again, it scared the shit out of me. I had my headphones turned all the way up, and I was, so into it, because it is a well-built, tensified scene. I know I kind of glossed over it. But I mean, we have these long stare-down shots between the two, the ghost girl and Soo-min's character. There's even this really nice quick zoom in where she throws herself at the camera almost, and she got a little bit of blood on her mouth coming from her eyeballs and shit. It's really, really tensifying, super spooky, super scary, and I love it. I love it. But once she wakes up, she hears Dad, calling for her, going, "It's time to eat." And, she's, "Okay, I'll be down in a minute." And she looks at her hands. Yet again, she just stares at her hands like she did earlier with her sister. She's looking at her hands. And she sees a little bit of blood on them. So she stands up and she pulls back the cover and sees her sister's there. And sees a little bit of blood on the bed. And it looks like the sister started her period. So, what any good woman should do, actually any good person would do, if they woke up and found out that their sister, their partner, whoever, has started their period in the middle of the night and has bled through the sheets and shit. We've all been there as women. We've all understand the embarrassment of waking up and finding blood between your legs on your sheets, especially when you have your partner in bed. It's super fucking embarrassing. But she does the honorable thing, and she goes to the stepmom's room, grabs, I'm gonna be honest, these are some nice stacks. I get organization, but this was very pleasing to the eye. When she opened up that cabinet and they had the stack of pads and shit, It was organized by blue pads and pink pads. I was like, that's some organization skill right there. Loved it though. My OCD really wanted to make love to those. Don't ask me why, but I really like that. But she grabs a handful and she walks out. And of course, stepmom was asleep beforehand. And as she's walking out, stepmom wakes up and she's like, "Oh, did you start your period?" No, Su Yin did. Oh, well, what are the odds? You know, she starts her period, I start my period. And Sumi's just like, yeah, what are the odds of that? And she walks up the stairs and realizes, what are the odds? Me too. All 3 women started their period on the same day. Now, what are the odds of that? Now, I'm going to be honest. I can tell you the odds of that because I work in a restaurant with a bunch of women, and I can't tell you how many times our cycles are synced up. And that happens a lot in prisons as well. Like, shit you not. You work in a women's prison, or you know somebody who works in a women's prison, talk to them. You'll learn that women sync up. If you get enough women in the same place, and there's one alpha in front of everybody, we'll all sync up together. Like, dead ass. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. Now, unfortunately, I don't think it would happen this quickly because it takes at least several weeks to months for cycles like this to kind of sync up together. I don't really know how cycles sync up. I don't know. They, like, phone call each other. They plan, and, who's the leader and shit. Because, working at the restaurant with a bunch of women, my shit's all over the place. I'm not going to lie. There's some days I have 2 in 1 month. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I had 2 in 1 month once. Because I don't know why. It's like I had my normal one and then I had an extra one. I was just like, what the fuck is this shit? And then seriously, 2 weeks after that, I had another one. I was just like, what the fuck? I synced up too much with everybody. Oh, God, the struggles is real. But in actual reality with the situation, it should not technically be happening at this point. Again, this is just clever writing and directing right here where, again, what are the odds all 3 women are all synced up at the same time? But, again, that's where the twist comes in at of, oh, yeah, they're all the same person. That's why. But I digress. So anyway, after... we had that little awkward moment of her finding out she started her period. She goes into her room. She grabs the fucking laundry and shit. And they go outside and do some laundry. And I thought this was kind of a cute moment. I'm not gonna lie. I thought this was cute because Su Yin is standing there and she's kind of looking a little embarrassed. And Su Min, she just grabs the covers and like a big sister just plops him down in her arms, basically covering her face. Just a typical older sibling. That's not even an older sister thing. That's an older sibling thing. Just, let me put this down. Hold this. Love it, though. But they go do laundry, and again, we hear that fucking bell. That maybe not important, but feels important bell that I keep mentioning. Yeah, we hear it again. And why we hear this bell, we see the 2 girls, and they're sitting there, and they're whistling. And I don't know exactly what they're whistling, but whatever it is, the mom used to whistle it all the time, or hum it, sing it, or something. But the older sister recognizes it. And as they're chit-chatting about the song, the birds interrupt them. Because, stepmom's got these birds. And I shit you not, I don't remember which one said it. I can't remember which one said it, but they look at each other. Now, I think it was Su Mi, actually, if I think about it. Su Mi looked at her sister and went, you think we should kill these birds? And they're very annoying. Do you think we should kill them? Like, damn, bitch, you psychotic. You talking about killing birds? Like, I literally just bitched out a little girl in Fatal Frame Lunar Eclipse for snipping off the head of a parakeet. Okay? I'm not afraid to do the same to you, little missy, okay? Like, psychotic children everywhere. But Su Yin is just like, no, why don't we set them free? Oh, yeah, not like she would care anyway. Oh, what the fuck we talking about? She cares more about those birds than she does about us. And as they're talking, the dad appears. And now, this was that camera shot I was talking about earlier, where we cut out one sister and we frame in on just the dad and Su Mi talking. And we end up in this conversation discussing, I want to say it's a wardrobe. It's a wardrobe, or they call it a closet, but I'm pretty sure it's a wardrobe. But the point is, there's this the closet wardrobe thing that's in the sister's room, and she tells her dad, "You should probably get rid of this closet." And Dad's like, "We discussed this. We're not talking about this again. You know, leave the closet out of this. It's very cold outside." And why? Oh God, hang on. Oh yeah, right here. So while they're arguing about the closet and about how cold it is, he looks at her and goes, "Listen, I know I've been a bad father." And then we get like this cut to Soo-yeon just sitting there, kind of acting like she's not there, just, you know, being sad and shit. If that makes any sense. Just her just like fidgeting with her dress, looking down. But we have a nice shot of her, and then we cut to Soo Ming's character, who then goes, "You're not even a bad father." Like, that's fucking cold. Like, he just said, "Listen, I know I haven't been the greatest father. You haven't even been a father." Like, bro, that is cold as shit. You just dig down your dad right there. Just insults, man. Just fucking insults. But yeah, no, that was the coldest thing she said to him. And he just goes, "Well, it's cold. Why don't you head on in?" And then walks the fuck off. Like, again, this man is just filled with sadness and depression. He's got his daughter either being really bitchy towards him, really loopy towards him, or God forbid, whatever the stepmom thing is. Oh my God, you actually think about it. How far are the step... No, we're not thinking about it. Never mind, scratch that. Forget about it. Just carry on with life. We're going to pretend like I said nothing and life is grand and I'm not thinking about it. This is a lovely cat I have right here. This is from, I bought this at Barnes & Nobles, and it's from Kiki's Delivery Service. I hope this distracts y'all long enough. Distraction working? Have y'all forgot what I just said? Yeah, I hope so. Anyway, after the father walks off, we then cut to Sumi walking in the woods, and she's wearing this blue dress, and she's minding her own business. She's having a great fucking time, and she hears something behind her. So she looks, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. But it's just, first of all, if I may add, lovely wood shots. Like, it's gorgeous woods. Those woods are just beautiful. Second of all, why did she turn around? What did she hear? What was going on in her head? But after that, she ends up going down to this, I originally thought it was like an abandoned shed, but apparently they called it a warehouse at some point. I don't know, but they got a lot of like boxing trinkets and shit in this place. She ends up grabbing a couple of these boxes. But while this is happening, we then cut to Soo-yeon, who's with the birds. And she looks into the bird cage and sees that one of them is dead. And before she can say or do anything, we hear somebody walk up to her. And then we just cut back to Soo-min bringing up the luggage or whatever she found in the abandoned warehouse. She then proceeds to take it inside. She opens it, and it's actually not a bad treasure trove. It's got some photos in it of her actual mom and her sisters. It looks like a little birthday party. And she's scrolling through, and it looks great. And she's scrolling through again, and then we see stepmommy in this photo. And we're scrolling through again, and then we see dad and stepmommy, and then dad and stepmommy again. And she's viciously going through these photos like one after the other. Eventually, the sister comes in and is like, "Hey, did you find this in the warehouse?" Like, straight up. That is the moment you knew something was up there. Something was definitely up, because of the fact that the woman was sick. She wasn't even dead yet, and yet you're bringing an also loving woman, air quotes around that, to take care of your wife, but you're treating her like she's your wife? Like, it's very questionable. Very questionable. And even in the American remake, they did the same twist there where, the mom was sick, so they brought in the nursemaid and all this shit. It's just like, can you at least have the common decency to wait till your wife dies before you do some shit? But no, let's openly have the affair, while she's still alive, make her have some terrible decisions. Help her make some terrible decisions later on. I'm talking about some fucked up decisions. Like, I'm kind of mad at this mom. I get what she did, but I don't get why she did it where she did it. Like, it was fucked up. Anyway. One thing I forgot to make a mention about the photos, and it was actually one of my favorite photos I looked at, but there was a photo of the dad and the mom, like biological mom, in their younger years looking happy. That made me smile because of the fact that was the first time in this entire movie, granted, it's not even this actor, but that's the first time we've seen this character smile. So when we saw that photo, I was just like, oh my god, the man actually knows what happiness is. Like, holy shit. But like I said, she gets interrupted by her sister, and she grabs the box. She goes, oh, well, why don't you take a look at this? She pulls out these little ballet flats. She's like, oh, these belong to mom, and oh, this was also mom's too. And then the sister looks in and goes, oh, this also belonged to mom, and grabbed it. And I'm not sure exactly what she grabbed, but she said it was a charm. And I want to say, again, if I say this wrong, she says this phrase, tartacum, or something like that. I don't know, but apparently it's a spell to talk to her mother. And of course, Soo-min asks her, where did you learn that? From mom. So again, gets you like questioning and thinking here, like, what the fuck do you mean have you been talking to mother? That's also a good question. Has Soo-min been attempting to talk to her mother at any point? Could be one reason why she's having such a fragile mind or something? It's quite possible, especially with the way the ending is. I mean, it gets you thinking, gets you wondering. But again, with a lot of Asian culture horror films, when it comes to their ghosts, they have a bit more respect about ghosts than we as Americans do, where we use them a lot for jump scares and spooky things, demons and shit. There's a bit of a respect when it comes to ghosts, where usually they hang around because they have something personal to take care of. And especially if you watch Ju-on or the Ringu and shit like that, you'll realize that in death, when something is cursed, it's cursed, and until it's satisfied, the curse still lingers. And the same thing, and like I said, when it comes to ghosts like that, they linger until they get what they want. So who the hell knows if maybe the sister might have accidentally did something. Again, we'll get to the ending when we get to the ending. This is actually a twist I want to wait to the end to tell y'all about if y'all have not seen this movie and y'all don't care about spoilers. And if y'all have seen this movie, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about, and we'll get there when we get there. But, she says, oh yeah, mom, taught me all this shit and everything. She then, Soo-min sees bruises on Soo-yin's arm and grabs her and goes, where did you get these? Where did you get these? And what's interesting about these is that you notice that it looks like a hand mark on one hand and then some cuts on the other hand, which, when she died, this is how it actually ended up happening. I want to say, I could be wrong, but I want to say the bruises that we were seeing were like the bruises she had when she died. But we as the audience aren't supposed to know this, so we think it's the evil stepmother, just like Soo-min does. So she proceeds to grab her and say, was it her? Was it her that did this to you? Tell me it was her. And proceeds to shake her violently. I'm talking about violently. I'm surprised that woman didn't get whiplash and shit. But it ends up with her Soo-yin screaming. I'm talking about bloody murder screaming. And she lets her go and she backs up, and then Soo-yin just walks the fuck out of the room. Just doesn't say anything, just screams and runs off. So then we cut to later on that day, and we have Dad getting ready. He's like shaving and shit, and Mom's eating, and Sumi is just staring at this bitch. I'm talking about staring daggers. Just, I'm gonna kill you, bitch. I'm gonna fuck you up. And she ends up confronting her about this shit, because eventually the mom is just like, okay, what the hell is your problem? Why are you staring at me? And she's like, how could you do this? How could you do this to her? Like, why would you do that? Why would you put your hands on her? And she goes, oh, it's retribution. Alright? If you disobey, you have to get punished. Oh, does Dad know? You think he can fix everything? And she sits and Sumi stands up and pushes the chair back. And you hear, and we cut to the dad in the bathroom. He hears this commotion going on. He hears it all. And as soon as she stands up, though, Mom goes, sit down. Where are your manners? Were you always like this, even with your mom? And of course, that again sets her the fuck off. She's like, don't you talk about my mom that way? And of course, stepmom's just like, well, I'm your mother now, bitch. Just deal with it. Just so like she says it so cold. This actress, again, wonderful with her delivery, from condescending, dickish to fucking cold-hearted bitch. Like, straight up, she just boom, boom. Just boom. Oh, my God, I love it. Just straight up goes cold. And I shit you not, she goes, crying isn't going to help. The world is cruel, so move on. I thought those were the cruelest words anybody could say. Like, this woman, this child, actually, not even a woman, this child is grieving. This child is grieving, because it's rather obvious that the mom's dead, since you're in this fucking picture. She's grieving. And she's telling her to get the fuck over it? Move on? Like, bitch. First of all, you don't tell people how to grieve. Okay, people grieve in their own ways. Some people take weeks, some people take months, some people even take years. Some people cry, some people don't cry, some people show emotion, don't show emotion. People grieve in all sorts of fashions. So how dare this woman, even though she's not real, but still, how dare this woman say this shit? Like, get the fuck over it. I'm sorry your mom died. Get over it. Like, bitch. I would slap the shit out of you if you said those words to me. Like, no, I wouldn't even slap the shit. My hands would be around her throat. The dad would have came in, me strangling her. Just, I'll be there in a minute, Dad. Let me finish this up real quick. Just fucking die already, Like, seriously, you don't say those words. But what really, again, gets you thinking is, again, we as the audience aren't supposed to know that she's not real until later on. And because she's not real and she's saying to herself, basically, stop crying, get the fuck over it, do you think in some aspects this is her talking to herself, saying, your sister died, our sister died all these years ago, we need to get over, we need to move on, but she's saying in such a cold tone, using the stepmom as like an imagery to project her own words back at herself, if that makes any sense. I don't know, when it comes to movies, when it deals with split personality, especially movies that are fine like this, where in some aspect you could take every word of dialogue said between these three characters and do a great character study upon just herself, and have the idea that this could be her trying to work out her own shit with her own self. So the words she's saying in such a mean way may not be necessarily the full way she portrays the stepmom, but again, doesn't look good that she's making her stepmom say this shit to her, but these are her actual words to herself. But she can't say it to herself because it would just break the illusion. It would break this whole imaginary world she built up. But after all the yelling and shit, and Mom says that cruel thing, Mom then continues on to say more cool shit by saying, "You two are burdens. Oh yeah, that's right. You must be sick still." Now, I'm gonna say this. During this scene, we're looking at them while they're at the dinner table, and Mom's got her little tea set. She's about to pour some tea, right? I had to watch this scene 3 times because I was so impressed with the accuracy of this shit. So she proceeds to start pouring the tea, and the moment the liquid comes out of the tea picture, Soo-min just slaps all that shit off the table just so cleanly, so perfectly as Mom's about to pour it. So literally it's like a cartoon moment. Like the moment the tea touches the glass, it just shatters. It's just gone, and she's just okay. I just loved it. I don't know why. I just thought that was so perfect. I don't know if that was purposeful or accidentally, but I just loved it. So after all that shit, Dad comes out of the bathroom and stepmom's gone. We see Soo-min run to the kitchen. She's crying. She's super upset. And something else I noticed too is the mess is cleaned up. Again, more clever camera tricks and shit, but the mess is cleaned up. But we're not paying attention to that because we're focused on the dad who's coming in to go check on his daughter. And he sees her and he goes to put his hand on her shoulder. She's like, "Don't touch me." And he's like, "What's wrong?" She stands up. She's like, "Nothing, I'm fine." And she wipes the tears off and she goes to walk away. And he's like, "What is wrong? Why are you not accepting any of this?" And she looks at him. She's like, "Are you clueless? Why are you only asking me?" And it's like this whole back and forth of, why don't you talk to Soo-yin about this? Why are you completely blind to what's going on around you? And oh my God, this moment just made me feel for the dad right here. He looks at her as she's just going off on him about Soo-yin and how the stepmom's evil and all this shit. He looks at her and he's just like, please don't do this, or you'll get sick again. That's some powerful fucking shit right there. Especially when you know the twist. Especially when you watch like the second, third time knowing the twist. The fact that this man is pleading to his daughter. Just pleading to her, stop being crazy. Just stop saying shit. Stop telling me this shit is going on because that means you're not fine and I need to send you back. Please stop. It's literally him not wanting to send her back to the hospital. He doesn't want to let her go. He wants her home. It's rather obvious he wants her home. And it's just little details like that that let you know he loves his daughter and cares about her and wants her to be safe. And he's just tired of the delusions and the sickness that she has. And he wants her to be better. And I'm going to be honest, like I said, that scene broke me a little bit. Because it's so beautiful with the lighting. Because we're going like back and forth between the camera angles of looking at her and looking at him. And he's got, light on him and everything. You just see his depression just oozing off of him with his sadness and the pleads. And then we're looking at her. And what's interesting about her is she's somewhat covered with shadows. So half her face has a shadow, like a bit of shadow on it, and we're seeing just one eye with just tears streaming down her face. And that's a clever camera trick, and not just camera trick, but camera lighting, because it's almost like the dual personalities of her. She's split into 3 personalities. Her dead sister and this make-believe stepmom. That's the vision that she has of her stepmom, and she is a shatter individual. So to have that framed the way it was beautiful. It's like the man knew what the fuck he was doing. Love it. Just Kim, bro. Kim, man. Dude, I'm definitely checking out the remainder of the works I've seen, because if it's anything like this, I know I would love it. And I hope you brought back that composer too, because that man knows how to compose music like a god. Anyway, we go, back to Sumin as he's begging, please, don't do this, you're gonna get sick again. She just goes, fine. Like, just normal. She just goes back, stops the crying, stops everything, just fine. And sums up, just like this, just sums up the entire conversation. Because what's also funny about this scene, it's okay, not really funny, but it's interesting. This entire time they're arguing, the phone's ringing. The phone's just fucking ringing, and they're just ignoring it while they're having this argument. But she says, fine, if anything else happens here, it's on you. Basically putting all the blame on this man, making him feel probably even more like dog shit than what he already feels like. Just throws that on there, and just to add a little salt to the wound, as she's about to walk off, she just looks at him and goes, oh, and answers the fucking phone, and like walks off, like, stab him in the heart, twist it around, smack him in the face, call it a day. Is that exactly what just happened? Because I felt like that's what just happened right there, because God bless that man. But, oh, God, I felt so bad. But fiery-ass acting. 100% fiery-ass acting. I loved it. I felt that scene. I love the lighting. It's great. It's fucking great. So now we're on to the next morning. And now we're with the mom. She's putting on this beautiful, I guess, like, orchestra opera music. Because she's cleaning the house because the brother is... I want to say he's the brother of the stepmom. I want to say that's his role. But he's coming, and it's all looking great. So she's cleaning. She's having a great time. And the sisters, I forgot to mention this during the first dinner scene. The sisters making a note that they're not joining them for dinner. Like, they're straight up just, I'm not joining you for dinner. I don't want to have dinner with my uncle, okay? Like, fuck you. That's why the sister ran off originally, because she did not want to have dinner with the uncle. So they're not here for the scene. Which at first I was just like, that's a little weird, especially since you would assume he's coming, this uncle's coming down to help the dad out with, with the sick kid. Nope, we're having a dinner scene with just the mom, dad, the brother, and his wife. Which I didn't think much of it until it's all fucking revealed. Because I'm gonna be honest. Like I said, I somewhat knew about halfway through this movie about the twist. Because again, I knew the twist about the sister, and I had my suspicions about the mom. But what threw me off about the mom, because originally I was going with the mom's dead too. Like, apparently, I thought maybe, she went to kill the mom and accidentally killed the mom and the sister, like they did in the Uninvited movie, in the American remake of this version. What the fuck am I trying to say? Just like the American version of this movie, The Uninvited, I thought that's where they were going with this. So when the mom was interacting with everybody, and especially during this dinner scene, I just thought she was eccentric and weird. I was just like, they're talking with her, they're having conversations with her, they're answering her back, so she's clearly there, unless the entire dinner scene is a hallucination, which is not, ish, because again, stepmommy's not really there, it's really Sue Mean sitting there, acting like her, so it's really really weird. I'm talking about, like, this is awkward. But she didn't know this information going into this dinner scene. It's just super fucking awkward. Because, again, nobody's saying shit. Nobody's making eye contact. All you hear is chewing. The stepmom's trying to break the ice. And she's like, oh my God, do you remember this time when you jumped to this lake and you almost drowned and shit? Oh God, and just remember that time with the crazy old man who only acted crazy when it was raining. And she doesn't stop. Like, this woman is literally hyperventilating. Almost like she's, she like, it's like almost like she's about to give herself a panic attack or something as she's like connecting these stories. Like, she's not taking a single fucking breath. And the entire time she's telling these stories, everybody stops eating and just won't make eye contact with her. They're like looking down at her in shame or something because she just, again, won't shut up and won't take a breath. And eventually, she goes, "Do you remember, brother? Do you remember?" And he goes, "No, I don't remember." "What do you mean you don't remember?" "Like I said, I don't remember." And then, drop of a dime. "What do you mean you don't remember? Are you crazy too?" Just seriously, like, drop of a dime. She goes from telling these stupid fucking stories to cold-hearted bitch. Drop of a dime. So then we have these long, awkward moment of just staring at each other, and then the sister-in-law starts... I'm not quite sure exactly what happens here. She starts convulsing and, like, grabbing her neck like she's having an allergic reaction, but then she dramatically flings herself into the floor, knocking shit off the table, and starts writhing on the floor like she's having a seizure. And then she starts screaming and flailing, her arms everywhere, and we're getting this, like, really interesting shot of her, like, her looking underneath the oven or the stove or something, and we're looking at the mom just standing there all in shock and awe, and then the husband and then dad comes in, trying to hold her down, they end up putting a pill in her mouth, she convulses more, and she pukes up this yellow shit, and then she calms down, and then they chill her out a little bit. And then for some fucked up reason, the mom's just standing there and just proceeds to scream. Like, just, just like freaks the fuck out. For no reason. Like, even though we know it's a twist and we know that's the Sue Mean standing there, still though, why the fuck did she freak out? Why? Just why? But she's fine though. And we're back with them driving off, and as they're driving, the husband's just like, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry that I brought you there, but people were concerned. They were begging me to show up." And she's just like, "I saw something there." "What do you mean you saw something there?" "I saw something there under the stove." "What did you see?" And then we get like a little flashback cut back to the stove, and she goes, "I saw a little girl," and you see a burnt up corpse underneath the oven. It's like, okay, what the fuck? Just what the fuck? Oh, but we're not done yet. So then, cut back to mom and dad sitting at the table. He's cleaning up the mess, and he's just like, "Yeah, you seem tired. Just go upstairs." Or something like that. Like, he says something like, just one simple sentence, just basically just like, "Get out of the room" or something, and he walks the fuck off. And the mom's sitting there, and she, just having I guess like a moment or something. She's having a moment. And we hear the stove door just, because again, no one believes in WD-40 in any horror movie. Fucking, opens up. She goes to investigate. She opens up the cabinets. There's nothing. She closes them. She gets underneath. She gets on the floor. Looks underneath the stove. There's this long, nice shot of her just looking underneath the stove. And I'm half expecting for it to cut back to what's underneath the stove. See nothing. Cut back to her. There's something standing behind her. No, we get this nice long shot of her looking underneath the stove. And as she slowly stands up, we see somebody in a very, very bold green dress just sitting there looking down at the table. And again, there's no music playing till this point. Like I'm talking about, it's dead silent as she's sitting there, as the dad walks out, as she stands up to go check the door and shit. Dead silence. All we hear is the sound of her walking and the doors and shit. And we get a little bit of a spike up with the music as she's like hesitating to turn and look. And as soon as she does, of course, there's nothing there. Like, well, okay, whatever. And then, of course, we calm down. We look back down. And we see, I'm assuming it's an earring or something. I'm not quite sure. It's a piece of jewelry. It's a beautiful piece of jewelry, like a long black stem with like a flower piece on it. And mom goes to reach for it. Now, I knew this jump scare was coming. Because it's a rather obvious jump scare. I mean, she's grabbing something next to a stove where we saw a ghost. We all know where this jump scare is going. But because it's built up so well, it's not until like the last moment where you go, okay, maybe I just fooled my... Oh my god! Like, seriously, he wasted the last fucking second to give you the jump scare. But she slowly reaches down, grabs it, and as she's picking her hand up, that's when we get jump scared. She lets it go, she screams, she turns around, and boom, there's that bitch in the green dress just standing there menacingly, just staring at her ass. And we get this nice close-up of the mom's face in fear. Then we fade off to the dad just giving her some pills. Again. And again, if she didn't know the twist and shit, I'm sure I was probably not the only person while watching this movie counting who got pills and how many pills. That was me, just, okay, mom got 2, she got 2. Why are they taking 2? Because, again, they're all the same person. But dad's giving her some pills, and she says, there's something strange in this house ever since they showed up. And dad's like, you know what, you feel better. So you get some rest, whatever, you'll be fine. Walks out, locks her in. Locks her the fuck in. Dad proceeds to look around because, mom at this point done hyped him up. Oh, there's something definitely here. Something's got to be here. So he decided to take a look around. Now, there's this really nice shot where you see her in this nice velvety blue robe against this, deep, rich red background. Because she's, pacing back and forth in her room and shit. And, oh, my God, just that contrast was just amazing right there. But, before we cut anything else, super fucking cool, we go back to the dad, and he's just looking around the house, and he gets to the bird, and he looks underneath, and he sees that this fucking bird's dead. This fucking bird. So he doesn't say anything, he puts the little, cover, whatever the fuck they're called, down from the bird cage, and he grabs it, and he walks outside. While he does that, he's being observed by one of his daughters from the window. We didn't cut to the mom trying to get out of the room, and of course it's locked. She ain't having it. She's like, oh yeah, okay. 2 can play this game, motherfucker. She goes into this room and yanks open her drawer and pours it out and pulls out her keys, unlocks the door, and she mad as fuck, walks into Su Yin's room. I don't know what the fuck she was about to do. It looked like she was about to punch her or something. She walks in. She sees the photos that the girls were looking at earlier in the movie. She starts looking at them. And, of course, they're ripped in half. Her face is gone. If they're not gone, she's done scratched it out because fuck this bitch. And, again, super fucking mad. Yanks the covers off. Demands Su Yin to get out of the bed. And Su Yin's just looking confused as fuck, what's going on? What's happening? And as she's arguing with her, she leans in on the bed. Now, I'm gonna be honest, guys. This scene got me. I nearly choked on my fucking Triscuits. I was eating Triscuits, enjoying this movie, and then this happened. I nearly choked on my fucking Triscuits. I could have died. So heads up, if you're not prepared for this, don't be eating Triscuits, because you will die. For one, Triscuits are really dry, especially when you do that moment, because something spooked the shit out of you. But the mom bends down on the bed to go grab the daughter, and all we hear is a crunch. I'm talking about a nice crunch sound. I'm talking about, it was the best crunch sound I've ever heard. But when that happened, me, the daughter, and the stepmom all looked at each other like, what the fuck was that? All of us. Granted, I wasn't in the movie, but I felt like I was in the movie for a second, because I was just like, what was that? Because we looked down the bed, and we see, I thought she set her leg or something. I was just like, man, that was a fucking tough act. No. She pulls back the covers. It's the fucking dead bird. Not the same one from the cage the dad's taking out, but a different dead bird. again, that scene got me because first of all, I was not expecting that dead bird. I was not. I know we saw the dead bird earlier, but I thought that bird was taken care of and went out of my mind. I didn't think much about it until it got brought back. Second of all, that crunching noise. It was that crunching noise that fucking got my ass because I was not expecting that. It just, I really wish y'all would have been here to watch me watch this because seriously, I was looking like, the fuck was that? Like, you don't know what that is. You don't know what that is. Like, we all confused in this pitch. We're all confused. But at this point, the mom is mad as fuck. And she's just like, who did this? Tell me. And she grabs the daughter. Of course, we have like a little bit of a bitch fight. I'm not going to lie. It's a bitch fight. You know, they're fucking like pulling each other, you know, back and forth and shit. And while they're pulling back and forth, she eventually gets the sister on the ground. She's dragging her across the floor because she's, you know, grabbing the lamp, drops the lamp, fucking knocking shit off the shelf, pulls her up to this closet and grabs her and throws her into this closet. And it just keeps saying over and over again, was it Sue Me? Was it her? Why are you covering for her? Why are you doing this? And of course, you know, Soo Yin's screaming. And she gets thrown into this closet and she tells her, you know, go ahead and cry. Grabs the photos. I'm talking about just chunks it at her. Don't just throw it at her. Don't just toss it. No, I'm talking about just fucking, like, y'all seen that meme where the guy's got the money and he's like making it rain on this girl. And she's like, babe, I said make it rain. And then he takes the whole wand and just slams it into her face. That's exactly what just happened there. Exactly what the fuck just happened. But she ends up closing her in. She's screaming, and the mom's, you know, freaking out, and locks the door. And then the beautiful orchestral music comes in yet again. I really love that moment. Like, it threw me off. It really threw me off. I'm like, why have we got this whimsical, creepy music playing? Oh yeah, because it's creepy and whimsical. The entire time though, mom's just looking, and she's like, all you have to say is sorry. All you have to say is sorry for doing this, you know, because I'm your mom. And she basically tells her that she's sorry. Like straight up, she goes, I'm sorry. And she goes, what? She walks to the closet door. Now say it like you mean it. I'm sorry. But she opens up the door and she, you know, sees her in the closet. She's curled up. She's crying like there's just tears. Her face is red and puffy and all this shit. And she's like, now start acting right and stop your fucking crying. Stop your crying right now. And as she's wiping her tears away, she looks at her. But she don't look at her like she's scared of her. No, she looks at her like she's pissed as fuck. And the mom notices this too, and she goes, oh, okay, you're mad? You're mad? Well, let's see how long you can hold out then. And fucking closes the door and locks her in there. And, of course, we end with all the screaming and shit. And we go to Soo Me, who wakes up and feels a disturbance in the force and goes to check on her sister and sees her in the closet and fucking, you know, gets in there and cuddles her. Like, oh my God, it's okay. You know, I can't believe she did this. You know, I promise this won't happen again. This ain't gonna fucking happen. You know, I love you. You know, fuck this bitch. We then cut to Dad, who's still outside, by the way, burying this fucking bird. And he feels a disturbance in the force, too. So he gets up, and he goes inside, and once he opens up the door, he sees, you know, the room's a mess, the daughter's sitting there crying and shit, and he looks at her and goes, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you being weird? Why are you acting different? And she straight up just hammers in on him. Okay, you want to know what my problem is? Your bitch of a wife, or whatever the fuck she's supposed to be, is bullying Soo Yin. She's mean to her. She's vicious. She's cruel. She's heartless. And she's just going on listing all these terrible things about how she put her hands on her, all this shit. And he goes, Soo Me, stop. Please. Soo Young is dead. not Su Young, Su Yin is dead. That's the first plot twist. Again, if you've seen the American remake, you know what this is all about. What confused me, though, was the fact that this plot twist ended up happening an hour and a half into this movie, and there was still about 30 minutes left. So I was like, what else is this fucking plot twist? Because in the American version, that's near the ending of the movie. That was literally like the last thing we saw before she got sent to the mental institution and all that shit. But that happened the last... like hour and a half left. That was all. We still had like 30 minutes left, so I was a bit confused. I was like, okay, so if that's not the big twist, what's the next big twist? But that is the first big twist. Is, you know, the sister's dead. She's been dead this entire time. And what's so incredible about this scene is once we know this, we have two shots. Of course, looking at Su Mi and Su Yin. When we look at Su Yin, the camera starts violently and ferociously shaking like somebody's having a panic attack. Whoever's holding the camera is having this panic attack. And we see her just scream. Agonizing, bloody, horrific scream. And then we cut to Su Mi, who's just sitting on the edge of the bed. And the camera's fine. The camera's, you know, perfectly alright. And then, of course, we go back to Su Yin, and she's freaking out. And this is the last time we see her until a flashback. So she is the ghost. That was her realization that she's not there. She's not real. It's time to let her go. So that's one personality taken care of, I want to say. But the problem is, it's not like she got to... So when it comes to split personality disorders, I'll look this up. A lot of the times when created, they're there to help deal with a situation or a person that you yourself are not comfortable with, so you create another personality to deal with said person. And sometimes the best way to end this personality is to confront the fact that this personality is not real, especially if they're dead or just like an imaginary friend or something. As long as you could break the illusion in your brain, you should be alright. Now, that's not the case a lot of the times. Like, let me phrase that. That's not the case most of the times. It's not like I do constant studies and shit on this, because DID is a very sketchy thing to look into. A lot of doctors actually don't believe in it. But from what research I gather, that's one way people have figured out how to do it. It's not like they get rid of them, but it puts them to rest, per se. It's not like, it's not like they like grab their luggage and go, alright, we don't need me anymore, bye, and walk the fuck out. No, they go and basically tuck themselves somewhere inside your head and just wait it out. I hate to use this, but look at Maleficent, or Malignant. There it is. Look at Malignant. She had a twin brother that was in her brain, dormant, until she got hit upside the head by her ex-husband, or her husband, or where the fuck he was, and then awoken him. Shit like that can happen too. But again, none of this is concrete. None of this is, I'm not a professional at this. It's just from the research I have read and looked into. Again, I cannot state whether any of this shit is actually true or not. It's just what I've read. Because again, it's hard to research something that some doctors just don't believe in. Like, straight up. But, shit, I lost my train of thought on that tangent for a minute. Hang on, let me go find the choo-choo real quick. Yes, back to the screaming and shit. So, yeah, in some aspects, when the dad confronted the daughter and said, hey, listen, she dead, she ain't real, Su Yin's personality kind of tucked herself away in the brain, but it made Su Mi want to look around and try to find her. Which can be dangerous, because then you bring the personality back. You're bringing it back to the surface. So then we cut to Dad on the phone yet again, calling for help, calling for backup. Just saying, I can't do this. This is rough. Another informal phone call. Somebody else on this phone call. And we learn that eventually it is the actual stepmom on the phone. That is who's on the phone calls. It's the actual stepmom. Which I like that little tidbit, that the fact that it's not to the end you find out. So you're curious throughout this entire movie, you know, who's he on the phone with? It's with her. Nice subtle detail. It really is a nice subtle detail. But after that, we then cut to Mom dragging a bag across the hallway, all the way down to another room, and then she comes back in with a fucking pole or a golf club or something, proceeds to beat the shit out of the bag. I'm talking about just aggressively, just beat the shit out of it. So Min then wakes up and, you know, she checks the closet and you know, does everything, you know, make sure everything's back to normal the way it was before she went to sleep. And there's this note on the floor. Now, I'm going to be honest, guys. 100% honest with you. I couldn't read the note. It's all in South Korean, and there's no subtitles on the version I was watching, so I could not read the note, so I have no idea what was on that fucking note. If y'all know what's on that note, please let me know. But as far as I know, I couldn't tell you what's on it. Like 100%. It could have been a fucking, please come down to the river and bathe with me. It could have been anything. I don't know. But whatever it is, I think it's from Soo-yin, though, because she storms out of the room and she proceeds to bang on Soo-yin's door going, hey, I need to talk to you, hey, and, you know, grabs the doorknob and starts the jiggling and shit. Actually, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, the note could have been from her dad saying, hey, I'm going out, because he doesn't come back until after a certain conclusion near this part of the movie. So that could have just been the dad going, hey, listen, I'm leaving. I'll be back. Or some bullshit. I don't know. I really don't know. Again, I couldn't read it. I couldn't fucking read it, so I could only assume what it might have said. But while she banged on the sister's door, she realized the door is not just locked, it's nailed shut. It is nailed fucking shut. So, she then proceeds to go into this living room, and it's like she's almost panicking, you know, she's wandering around, and we got this nice shot where the camera's kind of circling around her as she's having like a moment, like trying to find her sister and shit, almost like zooming around, almost in her head, if that makes any sense, because of the fact that she's calling out to her sister, and of course, because her sister's not real, she'd be calling out to her sister in her head, like, hey, where are you, come out. And eventually she hears her name being called by her sister, so she goes and investigates and runs off down the hallway, and we see a nice, rich blood trail just down the hallway. So she proceeds to follow it. Barefoot, just walks straight into it. Doesn't even try to walk around it, next to it. No, she just walks straight into it. And she gets to the room and she goes around, and we got this nice tracking shot where we're just following her feet, and you can see her feet are covered in blood. She's not leaving the footprints though, but she's walking around, and we get to the sack, and the sack's covered in blood and sitting in this one hallway still, and she don't know what to do, and she thinks it's her sister, and she puts her hands on the bag. She goes, Soo-yin? Bag doesn't do anything, so she ends up still panicking, like she freaks out. But we've all been there trying to aggressively open something because something terrible is happening and you gotta get out, or you're just so frustrated, like when your headphones are tangled in your pocket for some fucked up reason, even though you know you wrapped them up nicely, somehow they still get tangled up, so you get fucking frustrated and shit. That was her. That was fucking her. With this bag, she's trying to untie it, she's getting frustrated, she's yelling like, you know, just freaking the fuck out. So she gets up, she runs to the kitchen, she's trying to find like a knife and scissors or something to get this bag open, and this teapot starts going off, and it won't shut the fuck up, and she's not taking it off the eye either. And we take a moment to the stepmom, who is still in the room, and she wakes up to all this shit and walks over I guess, to the other side of the room. We cut back to the sister, and she is now, going back to the room to go get the bag. I think she finally found a pair of scissors, and she realized the bag's missing. The bag's done moved. She follows the bloody trail yet again, all the way down to another room and shit. And as she goes into, I think wound up in her sister's room, Su Yin's room. She opens up the closet door, and there's the bag in the closet door. And as she goes to open it, you hear the stepmom come in, because finally someone took that fucking teapot off the eye, and she's got this, and it's still steaming, by the way, steaming pot of boiling tea water. And she looks at the mom, and the mom looks at her, and she calls her, I think she's like an ungrateful bastard or something. I didn't quite see exactly what she called her. She called her something and called her ungrateful. And another fight ensues. She goes to throw the water. Of course, she knocks the water out of her way. Then the mom goes to grab her again. She stabs her with a pair of scissors. So this mom's got this nice, like, bleeding hand going on. Very nice. Love it. Comes back later. Eventually, now, this is where that wacky sound effect I was talking about comes into play. During the fight, after she stabs the mom falls over. And I'm not sure exactly when the mom falls over or when the daughter falls over. When one of them falls over, we have like this wacky sound effect, like a cartoonish falling sound effect of one of them falling. And it was so jarring, off-putting. It just threw me the fuck off. I was just like, oh my god, what the fuck was that noise? That sounded like I had to go back and make sure I heard that right. But yeah, there's this weird cartoonish noise in there. But the Su Ming ends up getting knocked down. She she ends up getting knocked down on a fucking dresser or whatever. And we go to the mom. She's dragging her back into the hallway with blood trails at. She drops down. She's struggling so hard. And she's struggling so hard to grab this statue. And I'm gonna be honest, this was a nice moment. As she grabs this statue, she pulls it up next to her. She gets on top of Su Ming, and she's just like, remember what I told you. Remember I told you will regret this. And again, Su Ming doesn't say anything, and mom's just standing on top of her, or leaning in closer to her. But what's really scary, you want to forget things, but you can't. Because it follows you like a ghost. And now, that's not exactly word for word for what she said, but that sums up what she's talking about, that she cannot run from her past. She can't run from what's going on. She cannot move on from the situation because the ghost will always be there to haunt her. Now, this is not only true for Su Ming, but also for the real mom, and we'll get there when we get there. But something I forgot to add, though, during the kitchen scene, which lets me know that the mom, because originally, I thought the mom was dead. And this is the moment I was like, okay, so mom's not real. Mom's not real. Because the daughter, goes to walk out of the kitchen before she goes to the bag. And she has like a flash of seeing herself doing the stuff we saw the mom do earlier in the movie. So that kind of gives you a hint that she's the mom as well. But right after that moment, Su Ming looks at her and goes, help me. Oh yeah, I'll help you, alright? I'll help end this. And she goes to pick up the statue. And as she's picking up the statue, you hear somebody coming in, and then it just drops. We just hear it shatter. And we cut to literally the dad walking in, and everything we just saw, all the blood trail, all that shit is gone. It's cleaned up. Because it never happened. It never fucking happened. All that was inside of her head. But again, we don't know this just yet. We see her knocked out with the statue shattered, and she's laying on the ground. And of course, Dad comes in and picks her up, and he takes her to the sofa and leans her down. And he holds her hand, and we see she's got a stab wound in her hand, just like she stabbed her mom. So this is when I started thinking, oh shit, both the daughters are dead, and the mom's the fucking crazy one the entire time. And they had me going. They did, because the dude literally walks out, goes to the bathroom, grabs some medicine, goes back by the closet, sees that there's this porcelain doll in the bag that she was beating up and shit inside the closet, thinks nothing of it, goes back into the room, and there's the mom just sitting there. And I'm like, holy shit, mind fucking blown right there. It's the mom. The mom's fucking crazy. So, you know, like I said, I was like blown the fuck away. And then, you know, she gives her the pills, and she's like, where's Sue Mean? You know, how is she doing? Really hamming this shit in. And I'm just like, that's some clever fucking shit right there. And then he's just like, take these pills, you'll feel better. You know, the usual 4 phrases he's been saying throughout this entire movie. He gets up, walks away. And then we sit there staring at the mom for a second, and I'm taking all this in. I'm just like, dear God, this is fucking clever as shit. We then hear someone coming in through the door. We look over, and all we see is a suit. And then the look of fear on the mom's face. And I'm just like, who the fuck is this? A doctor? Did he call in the doctor? Because I remember he was calling in for help and shit. Did he call? What the fuck? Like, what's going on? And we get this really nice shot of like a big ass oval circle shot where the camera comes in around. We look at the face of fear on the mom, turn around looking at the person who's standing in front of us. Plot twist, it's the fucking mom standing there in a suit, and you're like, what the fuck, what the? And then we zoom around her going back to Sue Mean on the couch, and it's Sue Mean. It's not the mom. That's when we find out the mom's not real. She's a figment of the imagination. She's alive. Okay, let me phrase that. She's real. She's alive, but the version we've been watching this entire time was not real. And I'm like, oh my fucking God, mine just fucking blown, like out the water. Like, I'm talking about, like, I paused and went, holy shit, man, they got me. Even though I knew what the hell was about to happen, they fucking got me. And I love a movie that could do that to me. I love it. Because, like I said, I knew somewhat of the twist from the American remake version. You know, so I knew some of it. But when I found out that the mom was still very much alive, that blew my mind. That was the part that blew my fucking mind. I was like, oh my God. And then we have a bit of a flashback to her doing all the, typical, DID moment where everyone finds out, oh my God, it was me the entire time. We have flashbacks of them doing the stuff we've seen other people do, and it was her the entire time. Yeah, we had that moment. And we come back, and she's holding these pills. And of course she accepts it. She takes the pills. She swallows them. And then we're back at the hospital. Now the dad's talking to the doctors. Stepmom's sitting there. And I'm just like, oh my God, just wow, just fucking wow. And you see the mom walk in and she sits down. And she seems to really care. Like, I'm talking about, she sits down, she's like, hey, how you doing? You doing all right? Starts, like, touching the back of her head, being very gentle, being very touchy, very feely, And I'm thinking, oh my God, what if they were wrong this entire time about the stepmom? What if she was actually this nice woman? And, because I started thinking, okay, maybe mom, died, and dad, got remarried after the fact, and just because her mind's so warped, she assumed, oh, they were having an affair, during this shit. And so I was actually rooting for the mom. I was disgusted with myself after the fact, but still, I was just like, oh my God, this woman's really nice. And all these theories started running around my head, and I was just like, holy shit, like, they got me, they fucking got me. And as the mom is sitting there, she's about to, get up and go, I feel like this is a good conclusion. Then I look at the timing. I look at the clock. We still got 15 fucking minutes left. I'm like, 15 fucking minutes left still? What the fuck? Okay. So the mom, goes to say goodbye, stands up. Sue Mean grabs her, like aggressively grabs her wrist and won't let her go. she's still not done. Whatever the fuck's going on, she's still not done. And of course, you know, she's fighting back and forth. So she's just like, let go, let go, let go. And she jerks back. And she walks off. Of course, her and her husband leave and all this shit. And we then cut back to Sumi sitting in her room alone in Iceland. She cries a little bit. She starts hearing, I guess, her sister running around. And she hears that whistle they were doing earlier. And what's really weird is the stepmom hears this shit too. Because she's in the kitchen crying when she hears this shit. And they're both having a flashback of when Dad brought her home. They were sitting on the swings when they were kids. And while they were swinging and doing their thing, you see Dad pull up, smiling and giggling, opens the door, brings out this beautiful woman. You can see Mom's still alive, by the way, looking at this shit through the window, witnesses this shit, and it's clear as day, right fucking there. He was still having the affair underneath her fucking nose, right there. And the woman's dying, and you're having an affair in her house as she's dying. That's fucked up, man. That is super fucked up. That is mega fucked up. Oh, but we're not done with the fucks up yet. We're not done. So Mom's crying. At first, I'm like, oh, this poor woman, you know, she feels guilty. She feels ashamed about this entire situation. Good on her. Make her feel guilty. She hears, you know, moving around from the house, and she goes to investigate. She walks into this room. And while we're going through this whole scenario of her walking through this room, we're still having these flashbacks, by the way. We're still having these flashbacks. And it is of, you know, the dad bringing the stepmom in, and Sumi won't eat, so she, you know, fucking, you know, runs out of the room. And Soo Yin's just sitting there, you know, about ready to eat, and stepmom looks over and just swipes the spoon out of her fucking hand. Like, no, she can't. If she doesn't want to eat, you can't fucking eat either. Basically, lashing out on Soo Yin because Soo Min doesn't want anything to do with her. Makes that poor girl, Soo Yin, dump her food out in the sink and sends her upstairs hungry as fuck. And she's crying, like you see her defeated look of sadness as she crawls to her bed. She just lands on it, starts crying. Then Mom comes in, and sits up, and she holds her. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. Mom pissed me off here. Like, Mom pissed. I get her motivations. I understand. I just think it's fucked up to do it where she did it. I don't condone it either, by the way. I do not agree with it in that terminology. I understand why she did it. I don't agree with it. But we carry on with the mom looking over into this room. And as soon as she walks in, she flips on this light, and we see something behind the fucking curtain. I want to say it's a hand or a leg or something. I don't know. It happened really fucking quick, so I couldn't really tell you what it was. We saw something behind there, and it's rather obvious. There's something in this fucking room because she is cold. This room is cold. You can see the breath coming off of her and shit. Like, it's fucking ridiculous. And yeah, she still walks into this room, by the way. She still walks into this room. And as soon as she gets to the curtain, she jerks it back, and there's nothing there. And then the door slams shut, and the lights flicker off. She's standing there in the dark and cold and shivering. And the fucking wardrobe door just... Again, lack of WD-40 over here. Fucking opens up, though. She goes to investigate. There's nothing in the closet. She doesn't see something sticking out of the, I guess... blankets and shit she had in there, and she proceeds to pull it down for some reason. I don't know why. She proceeds to pull it though. And when she starts doing that, a ghost comes out of the fucking closet. I'm talking about from the covers, just oozing slime shit starts oozing out. Mom freaks the fuck out, falls back. We don't get to see the ghost, so we don't know who the ghost exactly is. I have my theories who the ghost is. It's either Soon Yun or her mother. Either one. Either one. The point is, this is the pissed off ghost in an Asian horror film. So, yeah, they're dead. I'm assuming, anyway. We don't get concrete evidence, but I'm assuming she's dead. Because what happens is we get this night. I'm talking about great fucking shot of just half her face covered with her hair. And we still see the fear in her eyes through her hair as whatever is coming towards her fucking kills her. Because we then end with her screaming as we pan away from the house. Then it all clicks into place once this scene happens. This is the flashback to explain the entire situation, to explain why we had the vision of the mother the way we did, why we had the sister doing what she was doing, why the dad was acting the way he was, why everything happened the way it fucking was. Now, again, we're going to say this, do not condone or agree with this, but the mom, out of heartbreak and disgust and shame, killed herself. But it wasn't just the fact that she killed herself. She literally went inside her daughter's closet, OD'd on some pills, had a noose around her neck, so when she passed out, I guess strangled herself to death. I get feeling the shame, dishonor, and the fact that your husband's a fucking affair, but the fact she killed herself in her daughter's closet for her daughter to find, that's where I'm like, I'm not okay with that. Like, you want to kill yourself? Fine. Do that to, I guess, relieve whatever shame you feel, woman. But how dare you? How fucking dare you do that for your daughter to find? Why not put the middle finger up towards the husband? Why not the stepmom? Huh? Why not them? Why you gotta scar your fucking daughter like that? I don't know. That's the shit that pissed me off, though. I was just like, how could you do that to your own child? Not only just take your life away, taking that love and respect she had for you away, you kill yourself in her closet. That is so sad because she finds her. That's how she fucking dies. She finds her in the closet. And she freaks out. And of course, she's grabbing her. She's trying to wake her up. Mom, please wake up. Just shaking her violently. And she pulls too forward. And of course, the body catches the noose that's inside the closet. And in the process of doing all this shit, pulls the closet on top of her. Thus having the body of her mother and half a fucking closet on top of her, smothering her, basically crushing her. Everybody hears it. Sue Ming's in her room and hears it. The stepmommy hears this shit. And then dad hears it outside. Stepmom's the one to go investigate. Now this is the moment where my remorse for this woman was done. This was the twist that made me go, holy fucking shit. This was the moment that made me just love this filmmaker because he slapped me with one of the most cruelest twists in the world. She comes in, sees the wardrobe on the ground, sees the hand of Sin Yin trying viciously to get this fucking closet off of her, just trying, reaching, grabbing this coat hanger, getting her attention. She sees this shit. And she does nothing. She backs up, drops a photo, and walks out this room while this girl is still alive, by the way. And oh no, she ain't done. She ain't fucking done. Her words, her little warning to Sue Me, that, oh, you regret it? These were her exact words to her. As she walks out the room and her fucking Su-Yin is dying. Fucking dying. Su-Mi walks out and she's like, did you hear that noise? And of course, she's like, then why? And yeah, so is that why you're up here to investigate? And they have a bit of an argument back and forth. Why the sister is still struggling, by the way, struggling to breathe. The sister basically tells her to fuck off and goes to walk off and tells her to get out of her way. And her exact words to her is, you might regret this moment. Keep that in mind. You might regret this moment. Keep that in mind. That is a fucked up thing to say, especially with the fact that this bitch knows. This bitch knows that Su-Yin is underneath this closet right now, gasping for fucking air, can't breathe, and she has the audacity to look at her and go, you're going to regret this moment later on, knowing that eventually someone's going to have to tell her sister's dead. So it gets you wondering, did this woman purposely say this shit to her knowing that eventually this information was going to come out and that she was going to feel guilt and remorse? Maybe that's why she was crying when she was at the kitchen table knowing that this was her fucking fault. This is probably her fucking fault because she planted that inside of her head. Just, that fucking woman made me want to choke that bitch out. I wish I could get my hands around that woman. Like, great actress, by the way. Great fucking actress. 10 out of 10. You are a fantastic actress. So I'm not, like, attacking you. Like, your character is your character. Your character, I wish I could strangle. Because, damn it, man, she a fucking bitch. So, she ends up giving her that warning. And she goes, what could be worse than standing here next to you? And, of course, we have this fucked up moment where we cut to Su-Yin gasping again. And she walks out of the house. She walks past her dad. We keep coming back to her sister dying. And as she's walking out, the mom steps out of the fucking balcony, is looking at her as she's walking out. And that kind of wraps around to, what she was exploring back in the beginning of the movie. When she walked out, we know she looked at the swings and she looked at the balcony. That is why. That is fucking why. That was the first and probably last time she saw her. Who the fuck knows? I really don't. I really don't fucking know. But what makes this scene more gut-wrenching and just power to the soul, is the fact that Su-Yin's final words as she was dying was asking for help for her sister. She was calling out to her sister. Thus explains why her character spent a lot of time either screaming or crying and not saying shit. And why she felt this utter moment to constantly reassure her that she will be here to protect her. Because the one time she needed her, she wasn't there. But we end on a freeze frame after the mom walks in, because the mom watches her walk off and she goes back into the house. And we end on a freeze frame of her walking, and then we cut to her and the red coat sitting on the pier, like in the beginning of the movie. That's title card. That's titles roll. Yeah, no, that movie. It's a great horror movie. It's horror at its finest. Because again, I was horrified at the end when I originally felt so much sorrow for the mom, because again she played it off like she was a caring woman, like she actually cared, and then we get that flashback and information that no, this woman was just a fucking bitch. The husband fucking sucks. No wonder he's depressed this entire time. He feels probably the most guilt out of everybody, next to the mom, who's probably no longer with us. Thank fucking God for that, because she a fucking bitch. But yeah, overall, powerful fucking movie. Great scares, great build up, tension, music, acting, lighting, the color, the vividness, just the stark contrast of everything compared to the American version of this movie is phenomenal. This movie is great and it's rich. Like, even this poster right here, this poster says so much and yet so little about this movie. It's a great movie. Great South Korean movie, guys. 10 out of 10 would recommend this movie. It's fabulous. Absolutely 100% fabulous. And I can't highly recommend this one enough. I'm sorry it took me so long to watch this movie. I feel bad I watched the fucking American version of this movie before I watched this beautiful classic. Because this is a good movie. I do rank this up there with the Changeling. It's not better than the Changeling because, again, my one little critique is some of the audio effects and shit. Mainly from, again, that cartoonish jump and, like, some weird sound effects when the jump scares were happening. But other than that, it's a solid horror movie. It's got some good writing. It's confusing, but once you figure out this movie, the movie makes so much more sense. And if you go in knowing this twist, or having a hint or idea of what this twist is, it makes watching this movie, especially on multiple viewings, very enjoyable. Especially when you see little details you miss. Like the second time I went back and watched this movie, I caught some things I didn't catch that first time, like the table being cleaned off and shit. Yeah, it's just these little details the director added that was just phenomenal. Love it, though. Love it. I think, though, I have rambled long enough. I'm about 30 minutes over my podcast timing as per usual. But I just had to talk about this movie. It's a great movie. Definitely recommend, if you can get your hands on a copy of it, definitely recommend this movie because it's just a fun movie. It's just a fun movie, and it's a great character study of a movie. And there's so much more you could peel back on this movie because there's just layers upon layers with this movie. Again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the fact that she has the split personality disorder, and she's voicing things in a certain way towards herself. So it gets you thinking, and it's just a fun movie. It's just a fun movie. But we're going to go ahead in this podcast here. I hope everybody who has watched, is watching, will watch. I hope you enjoy. I hope everybody has a fantastic and a wonderful night. As you're watching this video, wherever, here on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, please give this video a like, subscribe, and a comment down below, because you never know what fuck shit's going to happen. Trust me, I never know. Like I said, guys, the Fatal Frame one is coming. I'm just making it a bigger project than what I intended originally, but I feel like I just have to go there. To be perfectly honest, I feel like I just have to go there. So we're going to continue on the rest of these weeks while we wait for the Fatal Frame one with more foreign horror films that I found from 101 Scary Movie Moments over on Shudder. I got some great ones coming. We have an Argentina film. We also have a UK film that was very controversial at the time. And I also have an Italian film I'd like to take a look at. That was an anthology from the 60s. Very interesting works. I'm excited to get into this because a lot of these movies I haven't seen. I've heard about Peeping Tom, which is the UK movie from the 60s that apparently destroyed this man's career. Like, seriously, straight up. I gotta do some more research into this, but it's like the UK version of Psycho. And I'm curious. I'm curious myself. I've heard about this movie. I've heard about the exploitation of this movie. I'm curious, and I would like to talk with you guys about it. But that's a story for another day. So until then, my friends, y'all take care.